This cash will buy you more than that old pot ever could.
It's more than just a pot.
It's money for your future. Just
Still
take it.
listening. I don't know if I can.
Listen, and I'll tell you a story, not of spirits in the forest, but of a hunger in the heart that can blind the wisest of us. This is about a woman named Amina, whose hands knew work, but whose life knew only the tight grip of struggle. She lived in a small house at the edge of our village, where the red earth met the stubborn rocks. Her husband had gone to the city years before, sending fewer and fewer words, and finally no money at all. All Amina had was her 2 young sons, her tired back, and her grandmother's old clay pots. That pot was not beautiful to those who did not know. It was blackened by decades of fire, its surface etched with the fingerprints of generations. Every evening, no matter how little she had, a handful of beans, a few bitter leaves, Amina would cook in that pot, and every evening her family would eat until they were full. The pot never seemed to empty. The meal, however simple, was always enough. Her grandmother had told her, "This pot holds the spirit of contentment. Care for it, and it will care for your belly." Amina loved the pot, but as her boys grew taller and their clothes grew tighter, she began to look at its plain, blackened form and see only an old, useless thing. One market day, a stranger came in a car that gleamed like wet ink. He wore a suit and spoke with a voice like smooth radio. He was a businessman, he said, dealing in precious African artifacts. He walked through the market not looking at the fresh produce or bright textiles, but at the old things, the stools, the beads, the tools in the corners of stalls. His eyes landed on Amina's pot, which she had brought to carry her meager purchases. He stopped as if she, "Madam," he said, his voice low with awe. "This piece, it is extraordinary. It is a museum piece. The patterns, the age, it is priceless." Amina laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Priceless. It is an old pot. It cooks food." The man shook his head, a sad smile on his lips. "You do not understand its value in the world. To people across the ocean, this is history. This is art. I can give you a prize that will change your life." He named a figure. The air left Amina's lungs. It was more money than she had seen in her entire life. With it, she could build a proper house, buy a motorcycle for transport, send her boys to a good school in the city. The hunger in her heart roared. Her neighbor, Mama Nkechi, an old woman with eyes that saw tomorrow's rain in today's clouds, pulled her aside. Her grip was firm. "Amina, that pot came from your grandmother's hands. Some things are not for trading. Their value is not in a banknote. That pot holds your home together." But Amina heard only the echo of the stranger's number. "Mama, Nkechi," she replied, "you speak of spirits while my children wear tatters. I am trading clay for a future." The man saw her hesitation. He pressed a stack of crisp notes into her hand, a deposit. "This is just a beginning," he promised. "The full gold is waiting. I will bring it tomorrow for the pot." That night, Amina stared at the pot. She cooked her last meal in it, a fine stew with the meat she had bought with the deposit money. Her sons laughed, their bellies round. She told herself this was proof. This money was already bringing joy. The next morning, the businessman returned. He counted out the rest of the money, a heap of paper gold. His hands trembled slightly as he took the pot, wrapping it in soft cloth as if it were a newborn. He drove away in his shiny car, leaving Amina standing in a cloud of dust, wealth in her hands, and a sudden, hollow quiet in her kitchen. For a week, life was sweet. Amina bought new clothes, a large radio, bags of rice, and meat. She gave money to relatives, and her compound was full of laughter and visitors. She paid a builder to start a new house. But slowly, a strange thing began to happen. However much food she bought, it never seemed to be enough. Meals that should have lasted 3 days were gone in one. Her sons, once satisfied with a simple bowl, now complained of hunger an hour after eating. The money, which had seemed a mountain, began to look like a small hill, then a mound, then a handful of earth shrinking through her fingers. The builder demanded more money for materials he claimed had risen in price. A distant cousin's fix sick, and the family expected Amina to pay the hospital bill. The new clothes tore, the radio broke, and the price of everything felt heavier. The laughter in her compound turned to whispers, then to requests, then to quiet accusations when she could no longer. Her sons began to fight, their eyes holding a new kind of hunger, not just for food, but the comforts that had vanished. The meals were plentiful, but the feeling of enough was gone. The new house stood half-built, a skeleton of concrete blocks, swallowing her remaining notes. One evening, after another meal that left everyone strangely empty and irritable, her youngest son said, "Mama, the food does not taste the same. It does not feel like home." Amina's heart cracked. She looked at her modern aluminum pots, shiny and cold. She remembered the warm blackened clay, the steady sureness of it. She had traded the spirit of contentment for the phantom of wealth. Desperate, she went to the city to find the businessman. The address he gave led to an empty lot. The phone number rang without end. The museum he claimed to represent had never heard of him. He was a ghost, a trickster who had seen the true value in her pot, not art, but as the anchor of her life, and had known exactly what to offer to make her cut it loose. He had traded her a temporary illusion for a permanent truth. Amina returned to the village, poorer than she had ever been. Not just in money, for money can be earned again, but poorer in spirit. The half-built house stood as a monument to her mistake, colder and emptier than her old, complete hut had ever been. She had to start again, with nothing but the lesson, a weight heavier than any clay pot. A full stomach in a happy home is greater than a feast in a house built on regret. Never trade what holds your peace for what promises you the world. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more stories, like, share, and comment with your thoughts.